Hello. Hello. In this project, we are going to be teaching the students how to house hack a duplex. This is a really fun one, and students are really into it. They are watching TikTok videos and all that stuff, and they're seeing people talking about it, and they want to know all about it. Well, guess what? This project is going to get them all the knowledge of how to do it, how to think about it, etc. I'm closing on a duplex tomorrow, and this is exactly the steps that I went through to do it. So here is our student guiding document, and we are here. So house hack a duplex, it's worth 10 points. And let's go see what that looks like. So the students will come to the website, they'll come down to I am a seller, they'll choose their school, they'll enter their password, and then they'll come down to house hack a duplex. There's a guiding document like always. So again, I print this off, and this one is 6 pages. I print it off front to back, so it's actually 3 pages. And then I staple it to this document here for all the students. It's just a clean way of keeping everything contained as the students are working on it. All right, so let's go see what step 1 looks like. Step 1, it tells them to go out to the website, and it tells them to read step 1. Okay, let's go see house hack a duplex. What does it mean? So I give a little, some graphics and a little intro and then a story of what this could look like, and then why it's powerful. And then I just want them to reflect a little bit. So they can reflect here, and then they'll come back here and they'll just write their answer here. All right, so this is just showing them kind of some of the basic economics of what it means to, rent a property, or have a duplex and rent out half of it. And so that comes from here. Like, just read this and answer it here, and then transfer that answer over to here. Really simple. The math on it is extremely simple, so nothing to be worried about. Hey, so once they got that under their belt, now you're going to come down to step 2, figure out how much you can afford. So this is the whole process of getting pre-approved for a loan. To do that, they're going to need to, I give them a scenario here. So I say, hey, imagine that at age 25, this is your life, right? You currently have this situation, you're working here, you got this much debt, so forth. So they're going to need to kind of understand their scenario here. And this is a pretty realistic scenario. At age 25, maybe they're working as a certified nursing assistant and they're making $25 an hour. And maybe their partner's working in the laborers union and they're making $25 an hour. And they got some debt and a solid credit score, etc. So they're going to take that information and they're going to plug it into here. So this is the exact information that a bank is going to ask you when they want to pre-approve you for a loan. So let's say, I don't remember how much it was. I'm just going to make up some numbers here. Let's say that the household income is $8,000. Let's say they got $400 in debt. Their current monthly rent is this. Their credit score is good, and they're able to pay, I don't know, $30,000 for a down payment. These are all fake numbers. The real numbers would come from up here. They're going to click submit. It's going to do the math, and we can see that the bank just pre-approved them for a loan of no more than $308,000. $308,000. They can find a property for less than that, but they cannot find a property for more than that. This is the max that they can afford given all of these variables here. So then what they would do is they're going to come out and they're going to search for their property. So they're going to go to Zillow. They're going to look for, they're going to put in their max for price. They're going to put in their max. Whatever their max was, they're going to put that in here. And then importantly, they're going to go to property types in the filter and they're going to choose multifamily. That's really important because that's only going to show them duplexes. All right, they're going to go out and find it. So let's come out here and let's do that. So let's come to here and were for sale, and maybe their max, it was 308. And then we're going to come here to deselect all, and then property type is here, and hit apply. And so you can see in my area, again, they would have their city in here, but in my area, I don't have many. I got maybe 5 or 6 that I can choose from. Let's go see what this one looks like. So we can read about it, you know, maybe it's a great duplex. How many bedrooms? So 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it's pretty small, 1,600 square feet. So it must be a 1-bedroom apartment on the lower level, 2-bedroom apartment on the upper level. Let's say they like this. They're going to grab this URL. They're going to come back to the site, and they're going to plug that URL in here. It's going to load that information into here. And then what they can do is they can come down here and they can let's go back to the guiding document. So, you know, they're going to go out, they're going to look at a bunch of different ones. So I want the student to at least look at 5 different properties, and of that, I want them to choose one of them that's their favorite. And so for us, let's say it was this one. Let's say this is the property that they're really excited about. Of all of the properties they look through, this is the one that they're most excited about. They're going to write some information about it here. They're going to import that information here. So notice how that imported the address, the number of bedrooms, bathrooms, photos, all that. All right. The next step is to calculate their monthly expenses. This is really important from a business perspective. So here's their monthly expenses. We've already pre-populated a bunch of this stuff. Their monthly mortgage is going to be about $1,800. And then, hey, this is a funny part. This is a fun part. Here are a bunch of expenses that they need to factor in. Everything from internet and gas and electricity to property management and savings accounts, which we can talk about. The first time they go through this, they're going to guess how much this costs per month. So for instance, monthly property tax paid to the government, I want them to guess how much that is per month. Maybe they guess, hey, it's $50 a month. And then they're going to click, am I right? And it turns out that it's $224 a month in property taxes. So they were low. Hey, how about homeowners insurance? Maybe they say, I don't know, $100. How right were they? Nope, it's $200. What about private mortgage insurance? Maybe they say $100, but really it's $168. For the utilities, this is interesting. As you know, with renters, you can decide whether your renters are going to pay that or whether you're going to pay that as the landlord. So again, first they're going to guess how much is water, sewer, trash, and recycling. Maybe they guess $40, but really it's $100. Then they get to decide, are the renters going to pay that or are the landlord, are they going to pay that? Electricity, the same thing. Maybe they say, hey, $40, but it's really $150. Are the renters going to pay that? Maybe in this case, the renters are going to pay that. For heating, maybe they say $200. Oh, it's really $100, and maybe again they're going to pay it. And then internet, I don't know, maybe they say $30. It's really $75, and maybe they're going to have their renters pay it. Okay, now down to property management. It's very common these days to have a property management company that manages all of your rentals. And there's 2 things with that. The first is a monthly fee if you want them to manage the property on a monthly basis. So that would mean that every month the renters reach out to them and they pay all of their rent goes to this property management company. So they handle all of it. If there's ever any eviction issues, the property management company handles that on a monthly basis. I use this, and so I think it's very valuable. The students don't have to use it, but it's very common and very suggested that they use a property management company, especially when they're new to it all, because, man, there's so much legal stuff involved, and if your renter just stops paying rent 1 month, if you're the property manager, you got to go deal with that. And if you're a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old, you're not going to deal with that as effectively as a property management company will. Or if they violate lease in some way and you need to get people involved, like the property management company does a good job at that. So let's say they guess it's going to cost $100 a month. Oh, they were close. It's $120 a month. The other service that the property management company does is find you renters. Now, this is very valuable. It sucks finding renters. You have to list your property across all these different websites, and then you have to schedule showings, and sometimes people don't show up, and so it really sucks. So let's see how much that costs. Let's say they guess $100 a month. Oh, it's $150 a month to have that service. And that's a really nice service. I use both of these. Hey, the last one is this, emergency savings. The students are going to create 2 savings accounts, one for maintenance and repairs. So that's if, the water heater goes out, or the house needs a new roof, or whatever it is that they have to pay for. They want to have some savings. So they'll guess, hey, I think I should save $100 a month for that. Oh, it turns out it's $300 a month. So they want to be saving $300 a month for this property. And then vacancy fee costs, we want to create a savings account for that. This is the explanation. Let's say you have a renter living with you for, a year, 2 years, and then they move out. It's going to take you some time to clean the apartment and get it all fixed up and ready to go again, and then find new renters. And so during that time, you're not making any money off of rent. And so you want to have a little savings account to fall back on. So let's say the students guess $100 a month, and guess what? That's right. You want to be putting away, as a landlord, you want to be putting away about $400 a month in savings for these 2 different things. So look at this. The total monthly expenses to own a duplex are $3,400 for this duplex. Remember, we're talking about this duplex that we found up here. This one up here. So, all the students are going to have different numbers here because of everything. But this is for that duplex, and the way we set up our expenses, it's going to cost the landlord $3,400 a month to own this duplex. This is where house hacking becomes so important. Check this out. Now what we're going to teach the students is how to figure out how much rental income they can make off that other unit. I give some instructions here about how to do that. And essentially what we're going to do is we're going to go out to our neighborhood and we're going to find comparable apartments. So for instance, if this apartment right here is a 2-bedroom, the one that we're going to rent out, if for this apartment here, let's say it's this bottom floor. Let's say there's 2 bedrooms on this bottom floor, 1 bathroom, and no garage, etc. Okay, what we're going to do is out on this step, we're going to go find other apartments that are like that in our neighborhood. So they're going to go out to Zillow, they're going to find some apartments, they're going to type in an answer here and click submit. Then based on the rent that these other apartments are asking, they're going to say, hey, I looked around at 4 or 5 different apartments in my neighborhood. They were all like $1,500 in rent. Mine is better because I have a garage, and so I think I can charge maybe $1,600 a month. So we're basing the rent that they're going to charge their tenants based on the comparable rental options around their neighborhood. Once they get this information in, they're going to come down to present your property. Now, if they have all that information loaded here, it's all going to be loaded in here. And so all they have to do is click download presentation. But if they are working on this over several days, they might have to quickly go back and fill in this information so that it's all loaded in this step right here, step 7. Once it is all loaded, they click download presentation. And it's going to download the presentation. They can open it and look at this. Not only does it give like a cover shot of their property, how many bedrooms, baths, the asking price of the property, but look at this. This shows them how much they're going to be responsible for a house payment every month. Now, you might be asking, hey, but the overall total expenses were like $3,000 a month, but once we factor in the rent, this is how much they're going to be responsible for paying every month. That takes students a little bit to get their head around, but it's really powerful once they do. So again, they're going to be living in, let's say in that upstairs unit, renting out the downstairs unit, they're going to be contributing $1,600 a month. Their renters are going to be contributing $1,600 a month. And that's how you get it all. Okay, so again, we like to look at these things over time. So let's say that the home value today is worth $300,000, but if we project that out over 30 years at a 4% growth rate, in 30 years, that property is going to be worth $1 million, or in 20 years, almost $700,000. And so this is a conversation with students around building equity and generational wealth and wealth over time. And then lastly, a picture of this. Again, this presentation is good for students to get up in front of class and present. It's good to present at conferences. So, you can print this off and the student can present this to their parents at conferences, which is really cool. And lastly, you can hang this outside of your room and attract other students who are interested in real estate. So it's really fun. All right. Let's see. So then the last part will be to create their lease agreement. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me go back. So we're at the house hack. Then I just show them what their logical next project would be. So this is, hey, what's next? Creating their lease agreement. In other words, they're landlords now. They own a duplex and they need to go and create a lease agreement for their incoming tenants. And so this project right here, the next project, by the way, you can find it also right here, create a lease agreement. This project is just the next logical project for them to work on in the flow of things. So again, once they finish this guiding document, you can grade it. I also threw in some stuff here. This is the home buying process, so you can just show this to the students about first finding a realtor, learning how much they can borrow, looking for homes, making an offer on a home that they found, and if they don't get accepted, they're kind of back in this here, finding more homes. Once they get an offer accepted, they're going to go into their closing meeting and moving in and then building equity. And then the last chart here is, I just wanted to show them all the players involved in this. Here's the buyer, they're the buyer. They have a real estate agent, and that real estate agent is helping them look for homes. They're communicating with the seller and the seller's agent. And then they're also connecting you with banks and helping you navigate this whole process. And so the realtor is a very important person in this whole process. I just wanted to get this in front of students, and you can help explain this to them. And here's the grading rubric again. And let's say they scored 10 out of 10. You come back to this document, you would say, hey, you would stamp it here. So house hack a duplex. You would stamp it here. You'd write in marker 10 points. And then you'd come shade in their next 10 points. And so maybe they're up to here now, up to a D. And they can see how it builds. Well, hey guys, that's the project. Again, if there's any questions, let me know. You can email me and then I'll respond.